Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Very excited to be joined by my buddy and my colleague. He is from Eagles Today, another Sports Illustrated Fan Nation beat writer, and my buddy. Most importantly, he's my buddy, the great Ed Kracz. Ed, how you doing, friend?
Hey, Hondo, doing great, man. You look good. Good to see you.
Always good to spend time with you, whether it's in person at a game or on a phone or in a group chat, but Zoom is great too. I got lots of family that lives in Philly. They love Ed. I've turned them all on to Ed. They're all Eagles fans. And Ed, I want to dig in today on the Marcus Epps edition by the Raiders. And I want to talk about three different facets of his game. You know him, you covered him for a long time. So let's start on the field. What kind of guy are the Raiders getting at safety on the field? What would be your expectations if you're the Raiders?
Well, I think you're getting a reliable safety. This guy has really taken off in his career. He was a sixth-round pick from the Vikings, and they cut him. The Eagles cut Andrew Zendejo at the time. This was 2018 or 2019, I guess it was. That was when Epps was drafted, and he came into Philadelphia. And, he got a chance to learn from, Malcolm Jenkins, Rodney McLeod, Anthony Harris, some really good, solid, reliable, dependable safeties. And that's what you're getting. You're getting a safety that's going to be in the right place. He's going to make plays. He had 93 tackles last year. It was his first year as a starter. That's a career high, 93 tackles. So you're getting a steady guy, a guy who is around the ball. Didn't have any interceptions last year, but that's okay. The Eagles did a good job picking the ball off. None of them just happened to land in Marcus Epps' hands, but you're getting a reliable back-end player for that defense.
I want to ask you a quick question because anytime a fan, I was doing an interview this morning where a Raider player is going to another team and they're like, well, if they're so good, why did the Raiders let him go? So what was the story? He's young. Why did it not work out for him to stay with the Eagles?
Well, that's kind of the puzzling thing, Hondo, especially when you consider what are the Raiders paying him? Basically $6 million a year for 2 years. I mean, that in the safety market, that's pretty darn good, if you ask me.
Yeah, they got a good deal.
They did get a good deal because I'm surprised the Eagles didn't at least match that offer. I thought he would be one of those guys that they would lock up in the fall. General manager Howie Roseman likes to extend players during the course of a season, usually in November. He didn't do it this year because the Eagles were off to a great start. They were 8-0, and he admitted he didn't want to create any jealousies within the locker room. But I thought Epps would have been a guy. Yeah, let's lock him up. I mean, he's shown that in his first year starting, and this is a guy that stayed healthy. He played 99% of the defensive snaps for the Eagles. But to me, it's puzzling, to be honest. I can only assume that the Eagles are trying to marshal their money to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back, who, he is a playmaker on that defense. He has position versatility from the slot cornerback spot to the safety. So that, increases his value a bit. And then you're still looking at a Jalen Hurts contract extension that wouldn't take effect until 2024. But, the long-term play is something you have to look at too. So that would be my assumption, Honda, is they don't have a lot of money under the salary cap. $8 million is where they sit. And I'm not even sure that's an updated number after they brought Jason Kelce back at $14 million. But to me, Epps is a home run pickup for the Raiders. I really liked him in Philly. And not only that, he's a good guy. When you meet him in the locker room, when you talk to him, you're going to like Marcus Epps.
That's my next question. I told you there are three areas about him I want to ask. The second is Raiders are really going for guys who fit the locker room, guys who understand what availability means. It's not just ability, availability. What are they getting in the locker room with Marcus Epps?
He's a pretty quiet guy. He's not a guy that's going to be out there rah-rah leading the charge, breaking down the huddle before a game. He's not that type of player, but he's a likable kid. He's a good locker room presence, and he's a culture guy. I mean, to me, teams that have success are teams that have that right culture in the locker room. And kudos to, the Raiders maybe for recognizing that in Josh McDaniels' second year, bringing in culture guys. He was part of a good culture in Philadelphia inside that locker room. Didn't make waves, was very welcoming of new players. And don't forget, Marcus Epps This was his first year starting, and the Eagles brought in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on August 30th in a trade right after training camp ended, right before the regular season started. And Epps wasn't, threatened in any way that his job would be, impinged on. He just is like, hey, we're just going to welcome him to the team, and we're going to make sure he's ready to go. And whatever his role is, whatever my role is, let's go do it. So that's a good culture guy right there.
Ed, last question is, what kind of guy is he away from the facility in the community? Is a guy that's going to be out there doing stuff in the community? Is he just kind of a lone duck? What is he?
Well, maybe now that he's making a little more money, he might become a little more active in the community. I think he's just a head
Isn't
down.
that true for you and I?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things when you're a young journalist you don't do. Hopefully, when you've had some success like you and I a little bit later in life.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, Marcus is listen, this guy's a workout warrior too. He opened up a gym out in California, and he really remade his body and sculpted his body. So I think, he was still trying to find his way in the NFL to prove that he could play in the NFL. And like I said, a sixth round pick, first year starting last year. I think now that he's sort of solidified himself, maybe he becomes a little bit more active and a little bit more comfortable knowing that, hey, yeah, I'm a starter in this league. I just got a new contract that's going to pay me $12 million. Yeah, let's go out in the community and raise my hands up to help others.
Well, Ed, you're the expert with Philadelphia. Nobody's better than you. So it sounds like in your eyes, this hurt Philly and was a good move by the Raiders. Am I reading you right?
Oh, absolutely. Good read there. Yeah, it absolutely was. Like I said, if I was general manager Howie Roseman, I would have put Marcus Epps on my board early and had him up high on that board. And we got to bring him back just because he's so dependable, so reliable. And like you said, availability is sometimes better than ability. And this guy hasn't been hurt, played all 99 snaps last year, and he's just a workout warrior. So he layers himself with the muscle and stretching exercises to become available for, every single snap if you need him. And he's also very good on special teams. He started his career on special teams. So if you're in a pinch and you need a gunner or you need someone to play on those units, Marcus Epps can do that too. To me, it's a big loss for the Eagles, no doubt.
Nobody covers the Eagles better than my good buddy Ed Kracz from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Eagles Today. Not only a great reporter, but a great person and a great friend. I'm so proud to call you a colleague and a buddy, Ed. Thank you for your time, my friend.
Thank you, Hondo.
Stay with me. I want to talk to you for a second. We'll see you next time on Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast.